Hey guys, today I have got 3 really awesome metal riffs I want you to learn on guitar, and these types of riffs are really going to help you kind of expand your own writing, and they're just really solid riffs to practice. Now there is a little caveat here. All 3 of these riffs are in the key of A minor. Now you may be asking, Jason, dude, why are you giving us these riffs in the key of A minor? Well, actually, there's a really good reason for this, and I'll explain that at the end of the video. And I also have another little surprise for you at the end of the video that's really going to help your metal guitar playing. So hang around till the end. How this is going to work is I'm going to play the riff at kind of what I consider normal speed. I really just made these riffs up, so I don't really know what the normal speed is, but I'm going to play them in what I feel like the normal speed for them should be. And then I'll also play it again very slow for you while I throw up the tabs. And then after that, I'll talk a little bit more about each riff to kind of give you some tips on certain parts of it, because there's some cool little parts of these riffs that I think is going to help you. And these are really just great practice riffs as well. Now what's cool about that riff, or at least what I think is cool about it, and hopefully you think it's cool as well, and hopefully that was really fun to play, by the way, it kind of takes you back to like that older Queensryche and some Dokken and some other of those 80s metal bands. They played a lot of those single note palm muted type riffs, which we did in the beginning there, but we also played some power chords in a little bit different spot on the fretboard than what you may be used to. See, normally we play power chords on those heaviest strings possible, but not here. We actually played them on the higher strings here, the D and the G string. And we're not just playing straight power chords. That first power chord, which was an F, we moved around back and forth between the 5th and 4th note. Then when you went up to the G power chord there, you moved around between the 3rd and 4th note. So that just gives it that extra edge and just makes it sound cool. Now, if you need to go back to that part where I had the tabs up, playing it slow, and just pause it and just go through those where the tabs are on the screen there, you can do that. In fact, in the description of this video, I've actually got the timestamps, and I meant to say this in the beginning of the video, but I forgot. I've actually got the timestamps for each riff. You can easily just go there and then press pause when you get there so you can just look at the tabs. So this is an interesting riff. I mean, it's kind of simple in nature, but the one thing that makes this a little challenging is that you're kind of doing like a string skip. You're playing that power chord, but then you're just palm muting that open A string, and we're kind of integrating a rhythm and a lead at the same time. Now you'll hear this type of riff, not the exact riff, but this type of riff in some of the Metallica songs and other heavy metal bands, and you'll also hear this type of playing sometimes in more of the classic rock and roll as well, where they'll hit that power chord, they might chug on that for a little bit or whatever, but then they'll go to a single note string, almost like they're playing a lead. So it really gets you used to playing one kind of stretched out on the fretboard there, because you're playing that power chord, but then all of a sudden you're going down the neck or up the neck. I never could get which one of those is right, but you're going to a higher place on the fretboard to hit those single notes, and you're kind of doing like a little lead riff there as well. So combining that lead style of playing, even though it's kind of simple, with a rhythm style of playing, really just enhances your metal guitar playing abilities in general. Now the third metal riff in A minor here, this gets a little bit more complex because we're doing a little bit more movement here and we're doing a lot of palm muting. If you notice, you're palm muting kind of back and forth. As you hit the single note, you're gonna go back and palm mute that open A string, and then you'll hit another single note. So it's kind of like dun 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 dun, kind of back and forth as you're going up that scale-like movement there. And it's also kind of like a quick and snappy move on your right hand or your fret hand. As soon as you move up to that high note, you walk up to that high note in that scale there, you start to go back down, but you don't quite make it all the way before you start integrating some other movement there, going to that next string over and then coming back down, and then you're back on that power chord once again, that A power chord. Now what I recommend for this riff and for riffs like this, when there's a lot of movement and sometimes the cadence may be a little weird and a little hard to learn because of the quick and snappy back and forth that we have on riffs like this, is really just to listen to it a couple of times. Remember, you can go back to that part of the video, listen to that a couple of times, and then just pause it when you get to the tablature section there, and just study that tab and make your fingers go through those notes really, really slowly so that it just registers in your head up here. It's like, okay, these are the notes. And then you have that, I guess, kind of like a mind to muscle connection. I'll call it mind to hand or mind to finger connection, to where your brain's like, okay, these are the notes I'm supposed to play. And once you know it up there, once you get that down, it'll be much easier to increase the speed if that's what you want to do. Now, I do have one more thing for you to hear, and I think this is going to help you a lot as well. And it's going to pertain to the riffs that we just learned. I'll get to that, but first, real quick, I want to just share why I did this specific video, why I did these riffs in the key of A minor. And here's the thing, as metal guitarists, a lot of us tend to just stick on those heaviest notes possible, which means we're playing that E and A string a lot more than the other strings when it comes to rhythms. We may head off over there every now and then, venture off to that D string or whatever, but we tend to play those heaviest notes possible because, again, we're metalheads. It's natural. And of course, if you're playing a 7 string or whatever, it's, you're playing the B and A string instead. What I want to get you to do, though, is just to every now and then break away from that and start playing metal riffs in different parts of the fretboard or in different keys. And in this case, we're playing the A minor, so you're going to be integrating some notes along with that, like you did in the riffs you just learned, that maybe you normally don't play or you don't play as much. And secondly, it just gives you some diversity to your sound. Because if you're always playing on those heaviest notes possible all the time, everything that you play and write is going to have a tendency to sound the same. Even if you're playing different chords or whatever, or different riffs, you're still in that same section all the time, and everything just kind of runs together after a while. So kind of breaking away from that and playing in the key of A minor instead of E minor or whatever low note you're tuned to, playing in that different section really just gives you a more diverse sound. This also enhances your writing capabilities, which is where I'm going to next here. I want to show you something real quick. So I'm going to take that first riff and I'm going to play something a little different, and I'll tell you why after you hear this. So you see what I did here? I just integrated some more notes with this riff. So instead of playing just the riff like we learned in the practice part way back, I threw some more notes in there. And this is one of those things that I really encourage you guys to do whenever you're learning songs, whenever you're taking like one of the lessons from me, like doing this video lesson here. I want you to learn how it's played, of course, do that, but I also encourage you to expand on that. Once you get the notes down, once you learn it, I want you to expand on that and see where you can go with it. So let's do the same thing for the second riff that we learned. Here's the second one with some whatever I'm about to add to it, which again, I have no clue what I'm about to play. All right, so there's one more. There's the third riff, metal riff in A minor that we learned. So let's see what I can come up with to add to that. So there you go. That's how you can expand on everything that you learn. I want you to do that with everything. Even if you're learning a cover song, let's say you're learning an Avenged Sevenfold song, or like a Metallica song, or a Amon Amarth, or whatever, learn the riff, and that's fine and all, but start venturing off into different territories with that riff. You know, add some more notes, play it in a different spot, and just do some different things with it. And to me, that's one of the ways that you can really enhance your ability to play metal rhythm guitar. And I specify metal rhythm guitar because, look, there's so many lessons on leads, and of course I give you guys lead guitar lessons on this channel as well, but I don't feel like there's enough focus on the rhythm section. And for metal music, I mean, man, the rhythms, that's the culprit of metal music. Not to take away from lead guitar, I don't want you to shy away from that, but again, I just don't feel like there's a lot of focus on rhythm guitar, and I want to give that to you because that's really what makes you a better metal guitar player. So guys, with that, I have a free metal guitar practice guide in the YouTube description of this video. I know a lot of you watching this already have that, but if you don't have that, pick up your copy. Also, there are links where you can listen to my music, and there's some other good stuff there, so be sure to click on that YouTube description and check all that stuff out. So guys, thank you once again for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, keep it metal.